Hey everybody, and welcome back to some more Frostpunk. It's currently day 15, it's negative 30 degrees Celsius, and much like at the start of the last episode, I think right now things are looking pretty good. We've got just shy of 500 wood, which is more than enough for what we need right now. Steel and coal, on the other hand, are definitely looking a lot weaker. Steel in particular is kind of our bottleneck right now. We have got, I think, like 7 or 8 workshops down here that are ready to just tank through any research that we throw at them, but we are being slowed down by our lack of steel at the moment. And coal is going to run out in 10 hours, but we do have a nice influx of 454 coal arriving in just 8 hours and 9 minutes there, so hopefully coal should not be an issue, at least for a few more days. And my plan with coal is to hopefully get the coal generator, the coal mine, up and running before we run out of coal. Because if we can get 800 coal delivered every single day, we might not even have to set up any extra coal generation for a little while. We might be able to postpone using our people to mine coal and using our research time to unlock, coal mines or coal thumpers or charcoal kilns, anything like that, until much later on when things get a lot colder. So that's kind of my current game plan. And now, before we hit play, there are a few inefficiencies in the city that I noticed between episodes. If we go to the temperature overlay here, you'll see that we have 2 gathering posts that are currently not gathering anything. They have nothing to gather, and yet at the same time, they do have the heater on. So right now, I believe that we have, at least with this gathering post, 10 children going to it every day and using coal to keep it warm without actually getting any work done. And so I'm going to schedule the deconstruction of both of these, and then in the same vein of wasting coal, I did notice between episodes that I have kept the heating on for our wall drill, which is an establishment that only the automaton works at. And so I don't know how this works, because it does say while there are people inside. I don't know if the automaton counts as a person. I guess that we could probably figure this out, right? If we look at our coal consumption, it's currently at 246 per day. If I select a building that we know has people in it, like the steam steelworks, if I turn that off, does that lower this? It does. That took it down to 236, whereas if we turn it on, it jumps back up to 246. And so I guess here we can figure out, if we turn this off, it also lowers. Oh my goodness, and it lowers by even more than before. And so we've been using 24 coal per day on keeping this automaton warm, which is almost certainly not needed. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the heater back on here, because what I would like to do is move the automaton to one of our steelworks, because as I mentioned at the start of the episode, we're currently very low on steel with no real way of getting more steel. Unlike wood, where, for example, if we start to run out of wood, we could put down yet another wall drill. We do still have space for another one around here, whereas right now, outside of discovering more steel on the map, sending scouts out to find more steel, I don't really think there's another way for us to generate steel at this moment in time. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all 10 people off this steelworks. I'm going to take the automaton off of the wall drill and reassign it to the steelworks, and then we'll also go ahead and assign 10 workers to the wall drill. Keep the heating on at the wall drill, but then turn the heating off at the steel steamworks there, because we do not need to be keeping our automaton warm. And so we'll hit play. Real quick, we do have to build a street here. There are a few workshops that are currently not connected to any path, so we'll schedule that being built as well. We are about to hit another temperature drop. People in the comment section told me that the number of arrows indicates how much the temperature is going to drop by, and so we're going to go to negative 40 here, because there's one arrow going down, which, there it is, negative 40 degrees Celsius. It is getting cold, guys, but never fear. I mean, maybe fear a little bit. It's getting a bit chilly out here. Even in the bunkhouses, things are looking less than ideal. We could bump up the range on the generator, although there's really... I guess there is the point. The reason why the tents in the bunkhouses are currently the same temperature is because of the fact that the tents are getting heat from the generator and the bunkhouses are not. Right now, we do have a few tents that are cold, which is not ideal. It does mean that the number of people that we have who are ill is definitely going to go up. I will turn the generator range up, just because I want these houses here to go from being cold to being chilly. We do, of course, still have 1 or 2 new tents that are cold, and right now there's not much we can do about those guys. They're just going to have to hopefully not get ill, ideally. Lighter scout sleds research. Nice. So scouts now move faster, which is fantastic. And then the next piece of technology that I would like to unlock is this one right here, the Outpost Depot, so that hopefully we can finally get that coal mine up and running and start bringing in that massive 800 coal per day. If we do start bringing in that much coal, one of the next pieces of research that we're almost certainly going to have to look to get is the resource depot upgrade, and then hopefully after that the large resource depot, so we can really start to stockpile all of our stuff. And it would seem that we have a new cutscene. Somebody has arrived at our city. The search for other cities. Man from Winterhome. We found an exhausted man at the edge of our city. He said that he came from Winterhome, a settlement located not far from here, and that he was the last survivor. Winterhome is dead. Everybody's dead. There's no hope for survival in this accursed wasteland. You're all doomed. You must escape. Those were his last words. So we're alone. One of our people died. Does that count? Did we just because up until now, we've actually yet to have a person die, which I'm very happy about. Is that one death the person who just collapsed as he arrived? Is that what happened there? The news has shocked everybody in the city. There were supposed to be many settlements and construction crews here, people living normal lives in homes heated by generators. But we're alone. Hope falls. Thankfully, our hope is very high. And so hopefully we can kind of absorb this loss to hope. This place is a deadly trap. We need to get out of here. They're all dead. Terrible. All these, that's a massive blow to hope. I do wonder if that's predetermined, like the amount of hope that you lose here, or if the amount of hope always goes to this point. Like maybe it's a more effective game strategy to not get people's hopes up because they're always going to fall to that point anyway. I'm not too sure, but nevertheless, Winterhome has fallen. They're all dead. How will we survive without any help? We have to go back to London. There's no hope for us here in this frozen desert. People start to gather as the news of the fate of Winterhome spreads throughout the city. Some of them want to drop everything and flee to London. Panic is starting to set in. I must give them purpose. All right, so we have to choose a path here. Order and discipline, or faith and spiritual strength. Now, the first time I played this, I went for order and discipline. At which point you can get guards and watchtowers and propaganda centers and, become the supreme leader of this city. I'm going to go with faith and spiritual strength this time, just because I've not tried it and I don't know what laws are available here. The first one is the House of Prayer. We need a place to practice our faith in peace. So if we sign this, a new building, the House of Prayer, will be available. We'll get a new ability, the Sermon. People living nearby will gather to pray, which will raise their hope. We'll have 2 hours to build a House of Prayer. Okay. I don't know if we actually have to sign this law. It doesn't look like we do, although we do have a little pocket over here. First death. One of our people has just died. Sickness, accidents, and deadly cold will keep claiming lives in this harsh world. We need to dispose of the body. Open the Book of Laws, or people can take care of this for themselves. I'll open the Book of Laws. This seems like a sensible law to sign. We've got cemetery or corpse disposal. I think we'll go with the cemetery here. It has more upsides. Hope will rise. There's no risk of disease from the undead. It does mean we have to actually build a cemetery, and some people will have to spend time out of their day to, bury people, but I think that's fine. I think that is not a problem. Let's put it, again, I don't know how warm this has to be. I have a feeling that a cemetery can be quite cold, all things considered, and also, you probably don't want to live too close to a cemetery, so I'll put it, kind of out of the way there. People are getting a little rowdy, but that's okay. What is going on? Do we actually have people working here? We don't. What in the... Was there one person, one rogue person working on this coal pile? I don't know if that is necessarily where the person died, or if it was the person who arrived from Winterhome who died. I'm not too sure, but nevertheless, the unconvinced want to leave. Sir, you've convinced the majority, but hope is low. A group of our people are still so scared that they want to flee to the city of London in 15 days. They've come to try and change your mind. You say faith will save us? Nonsense. Are we going to pray for food when we start to starve? If we don't try to reach London, we'll end up like Winterhome. Calm down. We're not going to die. Everything will be fine. The Londoners, your people are divided. Some of them are so scared that they plan to leave the city for London in 15 days. They'll try to convince others to join them, preying on their discontent. Fears may lead people to desperate acts. Maintain peace, give people hope, and manage their discontent to guide the city safely through the looming social crisis. Okay, so we now have 19 people who are currently contemplating heading back to London in 15 days. And right now the tendency is for people to join the Londoners. So we need to get hope up and discontent down to try and keep as many people in the city as possible. Try and convince as many to not leave for London. Okay, that should be doable. Again, I think we're still in a pretty good position to do that. We're gaining steel faster than ever, which is good. Coal is very low here. We've got about 2 hours left and we're getting more in just 11 minutes, so that is completely fine. Do we have more people arriving? We don't. Those guys are heading out. That's fine. So where do we want to go next? I don't know if we need to have a scout team ready to build an outpost. However, these guys will be back fairly soon, and so I think what we can do is send our first scout team out to Winterhome. I mean, now that we know that Winterhome has fallen, we can go and, I guess at the very least, kind of try and pillage whatever they have left. And speaking of our other scout team, they are here at the crash site. We have raw food and wood. Fate of the Forgotten. I will definitely take these resources. 140 wood and 47 food. Nice. And then where do I want you guys to go from there? I actually don't know how many spots there are on the map, but it looks like we've kind of hit the edge of this area. Like we unlocked no further locations there, so I guess we'll send them back. Come home. They'll arrive in 7 hours. That is perfect. It means that if we do need a scout team tomorrow for the coal mine, then we'll have it. Things will be ready to go, which is always good. The cemetery has been established, which is also fantastic. We are full up on coal. However, we are about to build the outpost depot that we have just researched. So, tech outpost depot. Oh my goodness, this thing is massive and can only go in one of 2 places. That's fine. We'll put one here. We will build a street over there. I feel like we might as well connect it to this kind of nearby street that's already ready to go. And then what is the next bit of research that we want to unlock here? I think the resource depot upgrade is definitely where we want to go, especially given that we're going to keep filling up on wood, and as soon as we start to get, 800 coal per day, we're going to need a vastly bigger place to store all of our coal. Speaking of coal, how are we doing here? It's chilly. The bunkhouses are livable. Again, I do still want to upgrade all of our tents to bunkhouses, especially the ones that are on the outer edge, the ones that are cold right now, but we're kind of just so low on steel. And the steel that we do have needs to be reserved to unlock, better ways of getting steel. Speaking of which, I do think that there is an upcoming research. It might not be until tier 4. Yeah, you'll see the advanced steelworks here presumably gets us more steel than the normal steam steelworks, but we do have to get all the way down to difference engine here, which might take us a little bit of time. We do have 62 people who are currently unemployed, which is not ideal. Also, apparently this is not being heated up. We will definitely heat that up. People working at the steam steelworks can definitely have some warmth. The same is true for people working at the sawmill. That's actually already on and is still cold, which is not great. We can fix that by there's a research that lets us increase the heating capability of our building heaters. That might not be a bad idea for the next bit of research. The scouts have returned back. That's good. The benefit to having so many unemployed people is that things like this outpost here do get built rather quickly, but we do have now the ability to put together an outpost team. And so let's create that and let's send them out to the coal mine. Can I do that? I can. They will arrive in 13 hours. Fantastic. Now, if I'm not mistaken, they do have to get all the way there, set up the coal mine, and then to get the 800 coal, they have to keep bringing it back. And so it's not like a slow trickle. Like right now, we kind of just get wood, like we get a little bit of wood every hour. I think we're going to get our coal in big 800 point batches from now on. Speaking of wood though, again, we're still out of space. And so I'm going to go ahead and put down yet another resource depot. Not even necessarily because we need so much wood right now, but just having that going forward, I think is going to be a really good idea. And we might as well if we, have the people available to work. And speaking of work, actually, we should probably throw down like a gathering post over here to gather this little bit of coal. I think that's really the only last bit of like available resource that we can gather. And even if we are about to get a massive influx of coal, just because we have so many people, we actually don't have that many. 21 of them are children, and for the most part, I'm kind of okay with the children not working, but it might not be a bad idea to do some research into coal just so we can get like a basic coal thumper or coal generator down and employ people, just give them something to do and get some passive coal out of it. I think it was definitely the right idea to move the automaton. We're getting a lot more steel now. How much steel are we getting now? This produces 4.2 an hour as compared to the 7 per hour that you normally get with people, but again, they only work a certain portion of the day, whereas the automaton works 24 hours. We could, if we wanted to, implement like extended shifts. This one's emergency shifts, but after that we get extended shifts. Emergency shifts allows us to have people work 24 hours, so we can have them basically become automatons for a day, but they don't like it, obviously, at all. On the other hand, we can have extended shifts where people will work like, you know, instead of 8 till 6, they'll work like 6 till 10, so they'll work just longer hours, which could be useful. People join the Londoners, I see. 27. In fairness, we do have 228 people in our city right now, and so if 27 people leave, that's not the end of the world. Even if like 50 people leave, that's still not really the end of the world. But I think we should go and sign House of Prayer. I really think there's not much of a reason not to. And if hope's going to rise every time we have a sermon, even better, right? Now, we do have to think about where we're going to put this. And ideally, we want to put it in a location that touches as many houses as possible. We might even want to maybe replace the fighting arena, like maybe take this down and put it somewhere else. Although we could put it like over here maybe, just like right there. Sure, let's do that. We could have 2 down, of course, to cover even more houses, but what I don't want to do is tear down some of the central housing to put the House of Prayer down. That seems counterintuitive, right? Even if the House of Prayer is cold, I would rather people be warm at home than at this pseudo-church, right? Coal is getting low. Our outpost is almost there though, 3.5 hours. We've got 11 hours worth of coal left, so we're fine on that front. What is causing discontent? People are cold at home and overcrowded medical facilities. You know what? Let's fix the cold at home thing. Anybody who is in a house that is not within the generator's radius gets a bunkhouse, that being you two. I think that's everybody now, right? Like nobody is now living in a strictly cold home. There are chilly homes, those being these tents here, but no one's in a cold home. Everyone is at least now chilly, which is good. It should reduce the number of ill people. Resource depot upgrade researched. Nice. We've now got a lot more space for wood there. It looks like almost double, which is real nice indeed. And now we could go and unlock the large resource depot here. But I don't think that's strictly necessary. I think improved heaters might be a good idea. Keeping people warm at work, I think that's going to lower discontent, maybe raise hope a little bit. We could also go with the factory. The factory itself does require a steam core to build. And then after that, you can make automatons, which I think also require steam cores. But what I'm really interested in is after that, there are all these upgrades that we can make to our automatons. We can streamline the automatons. We can unlock automaton integration, which then leads down to like medical automatons. So I'm assuming we can have them work at like infirmaries and stuff like that. So this, I'm going to do it. As much as I want to keep people warm at work, being able to put another automaton on this other steelworks is going to be huge. However, I would love to build an outpost on the coal mine. Sends shipments of 800 coal to our city every 1 day. Nice. So I guess that's just there now. These guys are going to work here. They are. So every day they're going to bring 800 coal back. That is crazy. That's so much coal. Now, of course, the downside to building more automatons is, once again, we're going to run into a situation where we just have so many people unemployed. You know, the automatons are, of course, more efficient. They produce more in the long run and they don't require heating, nor do they complain about the long hours. But I don't know if having so many people unemployed is going to come back to hurt us. We are getting large amounts of steel though now, so I'm going to go ahead and once again invest quite a lot of that steel into upgrading people's homes. And a lot of those unemployed people can start working on those homes. Speaking of steel though, we do need steel to actually build the factory. Thankfully we do have enough. That's good. This thing is absolutely massive. And I guess we'll put it down like right here for now. I'm going to assume the factory is one of those buildings that's kind of quite warm by default. And then let's look in the research tree. So we do have to unlock the next tier to actually do anything with our automatons. Before we do that, is there anything else that I want to unlock? We could get even more efficient wood generation, but I don't think that's necessary. Medical post upgrades could be useful. Thanks to improved tools and methods, people employed at the medical posts will heal the sick 10% faster. 10% is not hugely faster. How are we doing on food? You'll see coal now is just doing crazy well. We're doing fine on coal. Food-wise, we are losing food. We're not producing enough food. So I think I will go and unlock hunting tactics. Although this doesn't actually increase our food supply, it just, again, makes more people unemployed. The way that we get more food is by replacing some of our pre-existing hunters' huts with the flying hunters' huts, which we can do as soon as we get a little bit more steel. And so I'm kind of torn here because part of me is thinking, let's unlock like a coal mine and then put people to work in the coal mine. We're going to fill up on coal really quickly. And also the people who work at the coal mine are going to complain that it's cold and that they have to work and all that stuff. Whereas I think if we just keep them at home, they're quite happy to just kind of sit at home. But then again, you know what? Let's do it. If we build, it requires a steam core. Maybe just a thumper? Let's unlock thumpers. They're not going to be as efficient, but we can hire people, we can get a bit of excess coal, and, actually very close to being out of coal here, and our coal is a few hours away. So, alas, guys, I am going to bring the range down just a smidge here to hopefully give us some extra coal time. We're going to fully run out of coal. People are not going to be happy when the generator shuts down in just a few hours here, especially now that it's the evening. Cold homes. Right away, that was instantaneous. The second the generator went down the level, people are complaining about how cold their homes are. Let's heat some homes. Oh, I don't want to address this right away. You'll have to start heating homes within 2 days, then keep them warm for 2 days. Let's heat some homes. That's fine. We can make that work. Because as soon as we get our first influx of 800 coal, I think we should then be in, ahead of the game and be able to kind of keep everything on most of the time. We do have some homeless right now, but that's fine. That's just because we are upgrading buildings. We are out of coal, and the generator thus is going to shut down. Thankfully, the automaton has just refueled, which is good. The rebirth of fate. Sir, people have started to visit the House of Prayer. There aren't many of them yet, but it might be the start of something special. It seems like they really need a proper place of worship. I'm glad to hear that. We can go ahead and run a sermon to raise hope. It's a nice little bit of hope raising there. The words of our spiritual leaders will raise hope. I think right now we just kind of have to speed up time until we get this coal deposit. The medical posts are too cold to run right now, and there's no end in sight here. There's no rise in temperature, so like -40 might just be the new normal, which is kind of fine. It's obviously not great right now because people are cold, but eventually when we get our coal back, like right now, we can go ahead and turn this on. You'll see that 800 coal is like the max. It was almost full there. We'll go ahead and crank this on. Now we've got 3 days worth of coal. Fantastic. So we're getting 800 coal per day, and it takes us 3 days to burn through that 800 coal. So you can see how we're very quickly gonna, have too much coal. I'm assuming that the outpost guys are on their way back, like just automatically. I assume I don't have to send people out to do that. And it's at this point that we could probably even look into upgrading like our heats so that these tents are, well, I guess we don't need to increase the heat if we just build bunkhouses, right? We can increase the range. And then again, there's only 2 bunkhouses outside of the range, so even then it might not be necessary. I will turn the heating on at the medical posts, of course. The public house is fine for now, I think. The Londoners have gained followers, but their tendency has lowered. As opposed to 2 powers, there's now just the 1, which is quite good. And I have just noticed that we are getting a significant drop in temperature in a few days here. We're going to go to -60. So over here, we have the factory. We can employ 5 engineers, which we will do. And then we have automatons. Each automaton requires 100 steel, 100 wood, 50 coal, and 1 steam core. I will schedule the building of 1 automaton. Now, I don't know quite how that works. Production queue is empty. How cold is it here? It's chilly, which is fine. We'll leave that like that for now. It might warm up when people get to work, but I think that's fine. We do have 100 of everything but the steel, which should be resolved any minute now. There we go. They used all 100 steel, so we're going to get a second automaton, which we're going to put to work over there. Our coal thumper has been researched. All right, let's get some people to work. And our next bit of research, real quick before we do that, our next bit of research is going to have to be the large resource depot, because we're just going to have so much coal. We can't put down coal thumpers and have the 800 coal coming in per day if we're not going to have space to put it all. So by pumping pressurized water into underground coal deposits, the coal thumper washes the precious resource to the surface, forming a pile of up to 560 per standard workday, enough for 2 gathering posts. Oh, I see. I thought we put these here, but I guess these are for the mines. So we're going to put these like over here, I guess, just anywhere. I don't want to destroy resources. I will build 2 of them though. And then we'll put down some gathering posts nearby and have those, collect all of the coal. 2 might be overkill. I'm not too sure. We do only have 26 workers, and I don't know if the engineers can work there. So really, we only have 13 workers. But if all goes to plan, we're going to take 10 people off of the Steam Workshop fairly soon here. Now, our scouts have arrived at Winterhome. Let's go ahead and explore. Apparently, we can get steam cores. 2 steam cores. Nice. May they rest in peace. Now, I'm going to send these guys back home. And we're going to send these guys out to... Oh, there's a new spot. The American camp. I guess go there. I guess you had to go to Winterhome to unlock this spot. And then there's also this spot over here that we can now go to once our people get back with the steam cores. Hope's still quite low, which is not great. A child's plea. Captain, we found a boy frozen to the bone in the cemetery next to a fresh grave. He must have been there for hours. He wants you to call an emergency meeting. He says that if you agree, his mother will wake up and attend it. He must face his loss. Again, I don't know about the continuity there. I don't think we've had a woman die yet, but then again, who knows? Maybe that one person who died was that child's mother, but either way, we're not going to be able to bring her back, unfortunately. A new automaton has been built. Fantastic. All right. You guys, I'm sorry. You're all fired. The machines are here to take your jobs, unfortunately. The heating wasn't on there anyway, so you're all fine. I thought the heating was on at the wall drill. Let me turn that on. It should be on. The same as at the sawmill. The heating should be on there as well. We have a very large amount of coal. We can afford to keep the heating on. All right, so we'll employ 10 people there and then 10 people here as well. Now, it does say that it brings it to the surface, so presumably we need to put a gathering post nearby. I'll see what happens. I'll see where they put the coal, because that might matter, although I'm not too sure. However, we do now have the ability to build a large resource depot, which does cost a lot of resources, but I think it's going to be necessary. So I'll throw that down. We're already doing pretty well on space. You know, we're quite far away from filling anything up, but as we get more automatons and we build more things, and, you know, we do still have unemployed people, so we could, if we wanted to, once we get more space, put down another wall drill, which we don't quite have the resources for just yet, and does require a steam core, but would allow us to start digging out, you know, even more wood from the walls. But I think it's finally time to unlock improved heaters and keep people warm at work. We're doing a pretty good job on healing people. We're down at, well, 28. We've got quite a few people who are too cold, but we're doing an okay job at keeping people, you know, not sick. In the Book of Laws here, we have shrines. Praying at shrines gives people the strength they need to take on the arduous tasks every day. Shrines raise hope of people working nearby. Shrines increase efficiency of nearby workplaces. Ooh, you'll have to build 3 shrines. That seems very useful. Evening prayer. New ability, evening prayer. Each use raises hope and has a small chance of convincing a Londoner to stay. Ooh. I'm going to go with the efficiency. Again, I'm not really too bothered if 31 people leave. Obviously, it's ideal if nobody leaves, but I'm not going to lie. Having more efficient workplaces seems huge. That is what it said, right? Yeah, people nearby will work more efficiently. I assume that means I should put them near workplaces that are not run by automatons. I guess we'll put them here, here, and here. They do require steel, but that's fine. This is kind of our working district. We could have put them near the workshops. That could have been a thing. The Londoners have gained more followers. That's okay. We do need to keep the generator on to keep homes warm. That's fine. They're waiting. Are they waiting because we don't have? Oh, transport stopped. Storage is full. I see. So they can't give us the coal because we don't have the space. I would like to store 5,400 extra coal. Oh my goodness. I did forget that you have to designate this so it doesn't increase everything across the board, but being able to hold, you know, over 6,000 coal now is insane and also very good. However, we have reached the American camp. There are more steam cores and more steel. Steel is good. I'll take it. There's also another camp further out, but I think we will... And I guess we'll go forward. We're not really in too much of a rush for steel, and we do have a ton of steam cores, so that's fine. So now we've got a ton of space for coal. It might not be a terrible idea to set one of these up for wood as well, but we'll see how things go. They have arrived with the steam cores. Fantastic. Shrines have been built. Hope rises. Do we want to schedule another automaton? Is a good question. Also, how is this coal doing? So the coal is just being put there. Okay, so we should put down some more gathering posts. Now, if I'm not mistaken, it did say that it produces enough for 2 gathering posts per thumper? Enough for 2 gathering posts. Yeah, so we would need 4 gathering posts to collect all of this coal. And so in fairness, it might not have been necessary to build 2 of these. But I'll build these like as far out as I can, and then we'll put down 2 for now. We can always put down 2 more if we get, you know, even more people who are ready and willing to work. That is the most horrible road I've ever seen, but bear with it. And our amount of coal is going to go up exponentially. So do we have to select the higher tier? No, it just automatically goes to the higher tier. And so now people are actually comfortable at work. I'll turn the heating on at the coal mines, never fear. And also at the gathering posts once those come online, because we're probably going to have our children working there. The cookhouse is chilly. I don't want to turn on too much, right? Like, the cookhouse could have the heating on, but at the same time, I don't want to burn through our coal too fast. Like, we've only got 2 days worth of coal, despite having 1,000. Breath of Hope. Sir, people have started to leave personal charms, beads, and written prayers at the shrines as votive offerings. It seems that it helps keep their spirits up in these trying times. I'm glad to hear that. We do now, however, have to get a new research going. Gathering Post installation. Gathering Posts will be warmer. Sure. No, I'm going to go for the next tier. I'm going to upgrade. We do have some Gathering Posts here, which definitely could do with being warm, but I think the upgraded heaters are probably going to help us there anyway. We're going to have to turn the heaters on there. It's going to be too cold otherwise. How are we doing on food? I noticed before we were not doing well on food, but I think right now we're still losing food, eh? We seem to have a lot of food for a city that is not actively making enough food. But in the interest of getting more food, I will replace another one of our hunter's huts with a flying hunter's hut. People are waiting at the city. I thought they were on their way over here, but I guess we'll send them out. You guys can go over there. 1 day, 19 hours. It's quite the journey you have to make, but that's okay. And scouts, again, have arrived. Wood and yet more steam cores. My goodness, I did not realize this game was so generous with the steam cores. You guys can come back now. You've got a ton of stuff, right? Yeah, you've got steel, you've got 2 steam cores, and you've got wood. Yeah, I really thought that steam cores were going to be a lot more sparse than they turned out to be. Now, I was thinking previously that we might not have enough people to work at all of these gathering posts, but I completely forgot that our children work at the gathering posts. And so I will turn the heating on, because presumably otherwise it's very cold. Yes, they are almost certainly going to be ill if we don't have the heating on. Even with the heating on, it's cold. Okay, that does make me think maybe, just maybe, we should do the research for insulation on our gathering posts, because having our children be susceptible to illness is not great, even if just because they get less work done when they are ill.